This is actor, writer, and seeker of magic Vinnie Velez, and you're listening to the Journaling with PT podcast.
Welcome to Journaling with PT. I am your host, artist PT Russell. This is a podcast that highlights creative voices and emerging artists from all over the world. Please stay tuned to my conversation with actor, writer, Mr. Vinnie Velez. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Today I'm joined by talented actor, writer, director, and undercover rock star, Mr. Vinnie Velez. How are you?
Hey, PT, I'm doing great.
Yes, I mentioned the rock star part because you play instruments, you sing, you do the whole deal. Can you tell us a little more about that?
That's right. There's stuff on the internet that I'll never be able to get rid of, no matter what band I was in. Yeah. So no, I was like my first love in creation of anything really was music, and I was a drummer. We had about a handful of kids in town that could play instruments. I quickly got them together, and we formed various forms basically of the same band, and we toured and did the whole thing. And we're poor musicians doing our thing around, and it was great. It was a great time, um, and I just it kind of fed other creative avenues. And when I discovered acting and writing, that kind of took over. But I've never given up. I still songwrite and have Pro Tools, home studio, and things like that. So it's great therapy for me still.
Wow, that's super. And you sing so well. You have a really nice singing voice.
Oh,
And yeah, and I think it was a guitar. I started with the guitar and the on the keyboard.
yep.
And yeah, so what's your favorite genre of music, by the way?
I've always been a rock and roll guy.
Mm,
Various forms of it. I like when they incorporate orchestral touches, and so I tend to uh, go towards the very grand sounding epic scapes of music. So the larger the idea, I tend to latch onto that type stuff. So it can be a soft songwriter type thing with
mhm.
violin, keyboards, or whatever's going on there, to even orchestral metal. Honestly,
Wow,
yeah, yeah,
that should be interesting. I
yeah.
spoke to another artist and he plays medieval rock, which I was like, wow,
Love it.
okay.
I love it. I'd listen to medieval rock for sure.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's a concert pianist, and but he just loves that jazz.
That's
It's
great.
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
funny. This last film that I played the lead in this film called Charles Street, and I had a lot
mm,
to memorize. It was like 70 plus pages of dialogue. My character was in every single scene, right? So
mhm,
I needed something to connect this. And no matter how many times you go over something, you learn it, you have it in your brain. I wanted it even deeper. And for some reason, this band that was very heavy,
mhm,
and they were in the realm of maybe medieval rock, but maybe a little less on the medieval. But this band Beast in Black, for some reason, when I listened to them and I went through the material, it wasn't a distraction. It was something that connected me further. So throughout this entire process, I was listening to this. If you were around me, I was listening to very heavy music, and it was
wow.
just centering me. It's a
Mm,
funny thing, so music in whatever form, whatever song can connect me to dialogue, or to a script, or a feeling and emotion. And so it definitely, even more so than just songwriting, connects me
mhm.
to the film world, you know.
Oh,
And the
that's interesting.
scores of films, I almost remember scores of films quicker than I remember dialogue from films.
Your
um,
favorite score, your top two favorite scores of all time.
I mean, oh God, that's
Or your
tough.
favorite composer, whatever, when it
Oh,
comes to scores.
Hans Zimmer is
Oh, he is.
amazing.
He rocks. He rocks. Yes.
Yeah, these
That
guys.
Inception, the soundtrack from Inception, and
Yeah,
Interstellar,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I like. I'll put on Spotify
Mm,
or Apple Music and just listen to scores for for days, especially when I write. It
mm,
connects me to creativity when I'm listening to those scores, you know. So
mhm,
it'll just be this endless soundtrack of movie scores from the '80s till now,
mhm.
and it really helps me. It really helps me create. Absolutely. But there's so
Mm,
many talented, there's so
mm,
many talented composers. It's a huge part of film, obviously.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is super,
Hmm.
and I am happy that. Have you considered perhaps you doing a score, composing a score for a film?
I've done for little things that I've created, little skits and whatnot, but I would absolutely love to do it. Would I have
Mm,
the time to do it? That's the that's the thing.
mm,
While acting and helping with post production and doing, you know, auditions and doing the whole thing, I'm not sure I'd have
mm,
the time to actually dedicate to do a proper film score, at least of a feature film. But
right.
it's something that I think I'll end up doing someday. I will.
Yeah, I can totally see it. The
Yeah.
theme song, and there you are, with your vocals going all off, and violin, maybe harp in the background.
Oh yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, I don't even need to open up my mouth. I just play instruments and let it sing for them. You know.
Yeah,
But yeah, that would be great fun. That's something I'd look forward to doing for sure.
yeah. And so, just share with us a little bit about how your acting journey began. How did that start for you?
Yeah. So early on I did the drama. I was oddly enough I was this crazy athlete in
Mm,
in school. I did every single sport. I was like the captain of all the. I went to a small school, or else that wouldn't have
mm,
happened. But I didn't fit in with the jocks at all. That wasn't me. What I fit in with was with the theater kids and the music kids. So I took some drama, and I remember this first improv that I had to do. It was like, okay, you're trying to get into a club, you have a secret whatever that you get into this club, go try to convince them to let you in. And I did it, and I had the class like laughing like really
mm,
hard, and it felt really good. I remember that feeling in the moment. I was like, "Oh my god, this is something completely different than being on stage as a musician and singing a song and performing your heart out, whatever." It was different. It was
mm,
living in the moment. It was creating. It was real. It was happening. Yes, you can improv as a musician too, but this was just something different that really clicked.
wow.
And I'll never forget it. In that moment, I was like, I love this. I really love this. So I went on and I did some improv with other people I knew who weren't even
Mhm,
actors, some of them, and
mhm.
would film things. I'm glad that these things aren't online because this was like before the YouTube thing. But
Right.
we'd make all these skits eventually, and we'd have like a show, and we'd sit down and watch it with friends or whatever, and we'd laugh hysterically, and it was the best time always. Like each time was just a better time. It was the best time of my life. So how could you not want to be in that moment and do that again?
Mhm.
But what I
Yeah.
didn't do is I didn't take it seriously as like a career choice for
Right.
years to come.
Mm,
That actually happened by somebody pulling me from my business, which I owned a vintage shop in Hudson, New York.
oh, neat.
And that was what I was doing at the time. I was making decent money selling to all different kinds of people, and we had some cool people come in there. I met Richard Dreyfuss, Uma Thurman, a bunch of people like in that area were
Yeah,
really
yeah.
loved that stuff. But uh, through a mutual friend, he had heard that I had acted before,
Mm.
And he goes, I want you for a film. The guy's name was Mark Farrell, right? He helped
Mm.
bring. He was the original producer of Curb Your Enthusiasm, the very first, the
Oh.
pilot episode. So he had been in this business. He knew his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with all kinds of people. So he goes, I want you to do this film for me. You're gonna play the lead. We're gonna do a little short for the Berkshire International Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know that I'm the right guy for that. He goes, don't worry about it. You're good. You can. He goes, you're gonna talk in Spanish for most. I said, but I'm not fluent in Spanish. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. You can do it. I know you can do it. I said, well, I can talk to my family, try to. And so I said yes, and I'm so glad I did, because what happened on that set was just the little switch that needed to be flipped,
Mm-hmm.
that said, you know what, there's something there. You can do this, and if you want to do it, don't be afraid. And that was it. That was all I needed. And the next week I was on a set, being an extra, doing nothing but having fun, networking, and eventually got into independent films and supporting, and then
Mm-hmm.
leading, you know.
Yeah.
And you up the ante, you increase your game, you learn with every single thing you do. And here I am today, and I'm like smack dab in it, doing it every single day. So
Yeah.
thank
That's
goodness I
that's
allowed that.
incredible. So when did you get your SAG card? Which project?
What was that?
Your SAG card.
Oh, I got my SAG card pretty early on,
Mm.
in the process of just being in film, because I was core in a couple of films. And when you're
Mm.
core, you're on set like 2 weeks,
Okay.
a long time. And so I think it only takes 3 SAG waivers or whatever for you
Okay.
to be able to join. And I was already at a point that I was a must join. So I did
Oh,
join.
okay. 3 waivers. Can you just kind of extrapolate that information in
Yeah,
layman's
yeah.
terms?
So there's something called a
Mm.
Taft Hartley, which
Mm.
allows a non-union actor to work as a union actor for a day.
Okay.
And they'll often, these are people just starting out most of the time in the industry, and it allows you to be on set working in a really nice production.
Mm.
But you can't do that for your whole life. You can't just work off of Taft Hartley wagers or
Okay.
waivers. You have to eventually join the union if you want to continue working on
Okay.
SAG projects. So I did. I happily joined, and that was a thing. And then during the uh, pandemic, during the
Mm.
pandemic, I I needed to create. I needed to. There was a couple of projects that I absolutely needed to do, and I just couldn't come up with the budget. It was very hard during that time. Things were shut down, and even when they were reopening, you had to do uh, this large COVID protocol thing and have this medical staff and the things, and I didn't have the money for that,
Yeah.
and so I sought out um, a way to be able to do that, and ended up as a financial core member of the SAG union. So
Mm-hmm.
although I can't hold office and there are certain things I can't do, I still support SAG as a union, uh, but it gave me the ability to run a couple of productions, which I needed to do in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I needed that for during that time, my mental sanity and everything. And so for me, it was the right choice. It isn't for everybody, and
Mm.
there may be a day uh, when I ask again to not be, a financial
Mm-hmm.
core member. But that's currently what I am.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot, right, to take in. I think all of us were impacted by the COVID and the shutdown and the whole deal.
For
Uh,
sure, for sure.
but it brought a lot of us together in different ways,
Yeah.
and it gave us a creative outlet. Well, we're kind of forced into the creativity, into kind of pushing the boundaries of whatever we were
Yeah.
at that time into something else, into another realm, right?
Yeah.
So then you produced a film titled "Father, Forgive Me."
Yes.
And how challenging is it to immerse yourself so fully in the realization of a project or film?
I tell you, on whatever level, whatever budget, it
Mm,
is incredibly difficult. It is
mm,
incredibly difficult. One thing you have to realize early on, really in any career, but especially with the entertainment industry and acting and filmmaking, is that there is no success in this industry as an individual. Um, Things can only be achieved as a team and as a community. And so, building that community and building your people and your team that you can trust is huge. And
mhm,
so, I really started doing that with Father Forgive Me. There were a couple of things that happened um, when I relied on other people to do things that fell through and actually it really threatened this film to never
mm.
be made. Um, Fortunately, a couple of people, when I asked, you have to have the courage to put
Yeah.
yourself out there in this
Mhm,
industry too. You get a lot of no's, but that's the thing. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to put yourself out there and say, hey, you want
mhm.
to join on? I got this idea. I got this thing rolling. We were almost to shooting at that point, and this gentleman Don Miller came in from Vijado Films,
Mm.
and he helped kind of pick up the slack a bit, and then this my friend John Conover, who's a screenwriter, great screenwriter. Um, he came in and he got us an entire town. Basically, we had the town.
Wow.
The town of Fort Plain was so beautiful to us. They had the police force um, on set. We had use of multiple buildings, streets. They were so accommodating that we really
Mm,
felt like VIPs in the couple of days that we were there and shot Father Forgive Me. We really couldn't have done it without that location and that town and the business owners and everything like that. And that's definitely in the credits once the credits roll for the film. I thank the entire town of Fort Plain, New York, and the police force and the business owners personally. And but it took a community to make that happen, and it was not easy, but it was so worth it. It really was. It's a cutting film. It really is, and it's a
mm.
bit controversial. Uh, but now we're getting some good play in festivals, and we're starting to win some awards. Starting
Yes.
to it looks like we're going to have a
You won
really.
an award, did you not?
I did. I
There you
won best.
go. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Mhm.
best. It was best actor award,
Mm.
and it
Yes.
was in Portugal of all places. Portugal. So it's great, one, that the film is showing at different parts of the world, but also to just have a little recognition and
Mm.
be shown a little love from different parts. So I feel very happy about that.
Yeah, that is. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
It is great to have, he said, not to despise the days of small beginnings, right? So when we have
That is right.
things happen, we to acknowledge all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you spoke about having a collaborative effort, the film industry being very collaborative.
Yes.
And so we'll segue into, uh, I guess, a buzzword of the day in the industry, glad handing its way through most industries,
Hmm.
including the film industry, is the word networking.
Yes.
And what has your networking experience been so far?
Oof. It's been everything. You know,
Mm,
it really is an everyday, every minute of every day push.
mhm,
And if you are to get anything out there, get anything done, you owe it to yourself to network on whatever level you can.
mhm,
So without without putting without casting nets in the water, talking to people, promoting yourself, promoting ideas, projects, and showing people what you're about, being real with people, you
mhm,
you, you can't do anything in this industry. So networking to me is everything.
mhm.
It's not an aspect of the business. It is the business. Yeah.
Hmm. That's profound.
Yeah.
Uh, So, do you have any advice on kind of fostering more authentic connections? I mean, instead of like the solely transactional ones, because I'm sure there's a lot of that going on, and it's kind of a fine line, is it not, to between quid pro quo and having something authentic?
Yeah, I mean, you have to treat every aspect of this as a business. You have to treat yourself as a business. You have to
Mm-hmm.
realize that this entertainment industry, as many industries, most industries in the world, it's built around money making. You have to recognize that your ideas, uh, they have to be sold, and you as a person, you have to be sold. And the best way to do that is authenticity. It really is. And you might not think that because you see somebody who's more beautiful than you, or way more buff, or just a pure actor, just oh my god, character
Yeah.
wise, everything. You can't focus on that. You focus on what you bring to the table, your own originality. We're
Mm.
all stars in our own movie in life, right? So
Yes.
we all have something. Bring that. And the people that don't want that, you just move on. But you have to bring that everywhere you go, and be real
Mhm.
with people, and you'll see doors open up, and you'll see people just be human beings to you, and you're being a human being to them. And it's real, and it's a real connection, and it actually will do something for you. you know just yesterday, I drove an hour and a half,
Mm.
tired from work, to have a
Mhm.
meeting with Sam Borowski, who you know. Sam
Yes.
Sam
Beautiful
Borowski,
soul.
yeah, a great screenwriter, filmmaker, and we have projects planned, and it was him, Savi, the writer, and she's out of Connecticut now, but originally from the city, and I'm
Mhm.
in a project called Femme Mafia with her. So it was Savi, the writer, it was Sam Borowski, and John Conover met us, and so now it's another screenwriter there, who I love, and now we have like this hour and a half. I'm tired. I don't need to, I want to
Yeah.
sleep, honestly. But
Yeah.
when I arrived there, we had wonderful conversation. We talk about projects. We got things planned. It was
Beautiful.
that's what you do. Even when you're tired, even when it seems like things
Mhm.
maybe aren't going your way for the day, make the call.
Right.
Send the email, send the text, be
Make the
real,
sacrifice, right?
yeah, be courageous, and and
Yes.
and, and just do it, because what it's like, we only have so much time here. There's only so much energy we can expend. So let's do it on the things that, if we really truly want it, let's give it to that.
Oh, that's a commercial right there.
That's it.
Yeah. So, what networking pitfalls or pitfalls in general would you advise an aspiring actor to steer clear of?
Oh, I very much advise actors to steer clear away from shotgunning materials out and
Mm.
not being personable. I would very much have them steer away from trying to oversell themselves. That is the worst.
Oh boy.
When somebody tries to, inflate what they are, what they do, and just
Hmm.
brag about things that they've done, because the real people, they not
Hmm.
only don't like that, but they'll like purposely forget you very
Oh,
quickly.
oh, we
Just
don't want that.
cross you off a list. They will. Come to them, be humble, and be confident. Have
Hmm.
some facts to show them. This is what I've done, but this is also what I'm doing, um, in order to move myself up. Unless you're at the highest level of this game, where you're making $20 million a movie or whatever, which are probably a handful of people in the world.
Hmm.
You have levels that you can move up, and even those people are taking classes. They're learning. You learn with every day. You show them that you want it, and that you're a smart human, and a good one, and
Mhm.
somebody that they'd want to work with and pull into their inner fold, you know?
Yeah, that's a mouthful because I you do see it from time to time. People kind of like you said, inflating themselves,
Yes.
and just a little bit too much vanity,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we need to focus on this. That, like you said, the business is very collaborative, and that aspect of it. What can they bring, right?
Yeah.
Not just about what they want.
Yes. Yes. Right.
Yeah, that is a lot. That's a lot and a lot to ponder on. So if you're listening and you're an aspiring actor, take heed to these very wise words. Okay.
Love it.
So yeah. So speaking of networking, where
Yeah.
can folks connect with you, Vinnie Velez?
Yeah. So I mean, I've built a decent social media kind of presence on Instagram. They can connect with me immediately there. My handle is the Seeker of Magic, and
Love
the
it.
the reason that is because that is what basically I like to do every day. You know, it comes in different forms. If you seek the magic of life, to me, that's a worthy journey. Every single day, you can find it with people, find it with projects, find it with anything. So yeah, I'm the Seeker of Magic on Instagram. You can connect with me. You can add me, send me a DM. Um, I'm on Facebook as Vinnie Velez. I do spell Vinnie with an IE, and Velez is VELEZ. And so you can connect with me there. You can find me almost anywhere, which is a little scary, but because I got old, like I said, old stuff that I wish I could pull from the internet, but I can't. So if you type in Vinny Velez, I'll pull up IMDb, all that good stuff, and you can email me. My email is vinnyvelez.sag, sag. So it's vinnyvelez.sag at gmail.com. And because I have so many projects I'm working on, and I not only am looking for people to team up with, uh, but looking for the future. I'm looking for crew. I'm looking for cast. I'm looking for this, for that. Uh, there's so many projects I'm a part of, and that's part of the game. You have to be a part of 20 things as an independent artist, because you never know which one's gonna take the helm and go, and you got to be ready to go with any of them. So that's what I do. And
Yeah.
for instance, with Sam, we have something called the Bro Ship that we're doing currently. We're casting for it. We're looking for a female lead that's funny, that's charismatic. We even have Daniel Roebuck attached to that project, which is amazing. And I know you've had him
Yes.
on your podcast.
Yes, I have. And
Just
he is something else.
a force. He's
He's
a force
yes,
to be
full of
reckoned with.
talent. Yes, he is.
Yeah, and it's funny because I haven't even met him yet, but
Mm,
I am very much looking forward to meeting him as part of this project. And I know he makes films over there in Pennsylvania. An artist these are the type of artists that you want to emulate, that you want to uh, base a career off of, people who are doing it every single day, doing what they love, getting things done, networking, talking to people. Yeah, that's where it's at. So um, and you always got to be promoting too. I
yes.
As far as promotion I got this film that I played the lead in called Charles Street. It premieres in June 23rd at the Avon Theater in Providence, Rhode Island. Like I said, that's the thing that I had so much dialogue, 70 something pages of dialogue. I've never had that much in a movie, and it was a great challenge.
How
So
did
much
you
fun.
memorize all of that? What's is there a trick to this, or what do you do?
For me, I
Mm,
start with everybody's got their tricks, and there are
mm,
great teachers out there that will
mm.
will give their kind of shortcuts and this that. Some people connect it with other things. I connect it with music, personally too.
Interesting.
Like I said, that for some reason this band Beast in Black, which I don't even know how many people listen to, I don't, doesn't matter. It was this heavy music was connecting me to the dialogue and connecting me to this character who was going to be stressed out, um, in his homecoming he wanted to basically find some inspiration for a new story and write another screenplay, but instead he gets roped into this wild friggin' mess by this like low level kind of gangster who wants to be his best friend all of a sudden because he kind of knows him, and it kept me on edge enough, but it also linked me to the material, and I keep reading and reading and reading. I'll read the script 10 times over um, before I start to actually latch on to dialogue. When it's that much dialogue, most of the time it's only like a scene or two. That's a different process. That's pretty easy, But I think doing it is just going to make you better. So whether you mess with an audition a day or a couple a week and you try to memorize a page or two, you like flex that muscle, and that muscle gets better, like anything else. It's just you get better and better once you do it. So yeah, that was to each their own with their process, both of acting and memorization, but that was my kind of process with that.
Yeah, well, this is a great, and I hope that anyone listening will definitely check you out. The information, all of your information will be in the show notes, so they can go there. So out of
Awesome.
all these, because you're a multi-hyphenate artist, multidisciplinary artist, which
Yeah,
art
don't we have to
form,
be this day?
which art form do you find yourself most predisposed to? Which one do you prefer, or is there a preference, or no?
Well, I tell you, I can't get past I can't get past acting and screenwriting right now. That those two they go hand in hand with one another, and that's really my focus. It really is. I love being a part of projects, being immersed in a character and a story in a film, and everything, all the working parts and the people, and the talented people that you network with, and you see they inspire you, and so you continually are inspired, and
Yeah.
um, that just feeds, for me, it feeds like life enjoyment. It really is. I mean, and beyond that, just, I mean, that's not a selfish thing to love something so much that it gives you joy in life. Um, but beyond that, you're part of a community, and you're putting things out there, and it's like, then you go to an event and you have a Q&A, and you're getting people's, you're immediately shown love, or you saying how they interpret or were affected by your art or whatever, and it becomes this bigger thing, and that's even cooler, so yeah, it's right now it's acting and writing. That's really what I'm immersed in every minute of every day.
All right, that's
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah,
yeah.
and so before we wrap up, I have a little question for you, and it's, if you could be in one movie from the 1980s, which one would it be and why?
Oh man. Oh, now you're gonna hit me with you're gonna hit me. You're gonna see my you're gonna see my film, and you're gonna see my fantasy side come out, because listen, when people put me in as characters, I mostly play some tough, rough around the edges guys, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you truly get to my core, I nerd out for stuff like a Lord of the Rings, or a Star Wars, or these big, okay, so I guess the most recent one that came out was like a Dune 2 that just came
Okay,
out.
okay.
Films like that, when films like The Fifth Element,
Oh, so you like
uh,
sci-fi, like me? I love
it's like
sci-fi.
it's like a sci-fi adventure fantasy. You
Right,
put me in one of those things, I don't care. I'm like living my best life,
right.
honestly. So, uh, I think I don't know when that'll happen for me, but I'm hunting it down. I'm hunting it down my career. I might play some gangsters or some tough guys to get there, but
Yes.
you asked me an ideal, and that's the world. These people that dream up just gigantic things like this. Francis Ford Coppola he just invested 120 million of his own
Yes.
money in his movie. I absolutely respect and love that,
Yes.
and that is where I'd like to be.
Yeah.
working for someone like that.
Did you see the trailer? Did you see
I
the
did.
trailer for
I
Megalopolis?
did see the trailer.
What do you
Yeah,
think of it?
wild,
Yeah.
wild. I think I love that he went in unafraid to do this,
Yeah.
and he talks about it like it was something I got from this vineyard, and and I invested in myself, and that in itself is a lesson.
Yes.
Investing in yourself, believing in yourself, and holy, I'm there. I'm there for it. So
Oh, I'm definitely curious to see how it all comes together because they said that a lot of the elements that he used, the imagery from like
yeah,
Bram Stoker's Dracula,
yeah.
he kind of went crazy with this. Yeah, one reviewer, I think he said he went balls to the wall. Is what he said.
Balls to the wall. That's a good. That's right. That's
So
a
I
good
was
way to
like,
put it.
okay, he has nothing to lose, right? So hey, go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the final result is.
yeah.
Their
Yes,
reviews out of Cannes are mixed,
yes,
too
yeah,
negative, but we won't focus on that because you just never know. It's just all in the eye of the beholder, right? So if
yeah,
anyone, so when it does premiere in this part of the world, I will. I'm going to be front and center. Check it out.
yeah, yeah. I'll be in support. Anything like that, I will support. I love the creativity. I love the
Mm.
just the drive and the fact that he has done so many big things in his career, but still he's proving he's proving to himself that he can do it, and just and like damn damn it,
He's
anybody that
85
hears
years
name
old
say,
for crying out loud. So why not?
yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at.
So, so you would say, because originally I asked about the 1980s. So you're
Oh,
saying that the film that you would be most interested in would be like sci-fi, like Star Wars or something like that. Is
yeah,
what?
if we're going to the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and only that decade, I thought you meant from the 80s on.
Oh no, no,
So
no, no.
okay, so if we go back to the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
boy, back in the 80s I was a huge Goonies fan. I
Okay.
mean, I was like, that was a little action adventure comedy, and Ron Howard at the helm of that thing.
Yes.
Boy, you put me in that thing, that's a life stream. I don't know what the hell I'd play. I'd
Well,
have fun playing like a Data,
yeah.
honestly, being the kid with the gizmos.
Yes, yes. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. They,
If I was a kid, of course, during that time,
yes,
which I was.
yes.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah, so the 80s are lots of fun. The 80s, I mean, all of the decades had its own ambiance and
Oh,
its own time to
absolutely.
yeah, and so but it's one of those decades that I really enjoy the films, and a
Yeah.
lot of them are still like classically relevant as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
Some people would
Mhm.
beg to differ, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
great
Some of
time.
them, they say, didn't age well. Whatever. They come.
I know, right?
Of course,
Yeah,
that happens with anything. It
yeah.
happens with anything. But I still I love so much. Yeah, of film and music from the 80s. I loved the art. It felt free. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was defined. It was like there was an energy, a creative energy during that time that
Mm-hmm.
was lifting, I think, our worldwide, but certainly in the US, lifting society. It really was huge. Of course, arts and culture are a big part of today as well, but in a different way. It felt like that was the driving force, like the film and music was driving everything else. It's a funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's so much great stuff that
Yeah.
and it's funny because I'm part of this project currently. It's called Pressure Points, right? And it's about um, it's actually based on some true stories from uh, my massage career, and
Oh.
there are wild things that happen, and there are funny things that happen, and to tell them in a certain way, it really hasn't been done this way, but it feels, the whole thing. The reason I mentioned this project,
Mm-hmm.
is because it feels like an 80s comedy. And it's wild and free, and just it has that kind of 80s pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and it's a little raunchy at times, a little wild, but and there's some kind of shock factor, but it's all based in comedy and good spirited comedy. And I feel like it's coming back. It's coming back a little bit. You know, they've rebelled, and the society, we've learned, we've progressed certain
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
but there is an audience that wants to see just funny, wild, carefree type stuff. And it is the return of that kind of romp. You know, that wild comedy is coming back, and I really hope it does make a full comeback. I know it is in streaming, and there's been a couple successes in movies. There was a recent what's her name? Her name is escaping me. The one that played Katniss
Lawrence?
in the Hunger Game. Yes, Jennifer Lawrence. She was that was a very funny movie she was in, and it was considered a raunchy comedy type thing.
Okay, I heard about it.
Yeah, I loved it. I laughed hysterically, and it was successful. And there's been many others, and so it's cool. It's cool that's kind of making a comeback. Yeah, just a great decade of art.
Yes, it definitely should be acknowledged. And so I just wanted to make mention of that because
Yeah.
I was just kind of binging on some 80s films, Predator
Mm-hmm.
and Terminator, and well,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you can go endless.
on and on.
I know. And any of those films you mentioned,
I think Chucky. I saw Chucky the other day, the original. I hadn't seen
Chucky,
that in
yeah,
years, and
yeah,
I thought to put that on. I said, okay, this is why this is a cult classic. It's now a cult classic. It was pretty. All the elements there. It's funny. It was like unexpected. Yeah, Chucky. I'm Chucky. I want to play.
yeah. I remember it was very, very disturbing as a child to watch that kind of stuff.
mm,
And it's funny. My parents, personal story wise, my parents, that's all they would watch were these like slasher, terrible horror films. And so even at like 5 years old, I remember like I spent most of my time with my head in the pillow, like when I was in my living room,
oh
because
my goodness.
it was like people being slaughtered on. I don't even. It's
Mm,
like crazy. It was like Halloween and like
right.
you know
Freddy Krueger.
Nightmare on Elm Street, and
Mm,
then some kind of doll that's coming out of a closet with a little knife. Like I
yeah.
was like
Yes.
nightmares as a kid, like it's crazy. But then I grew to love it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That,
just
that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you about that decade. There's a lot of stuff there to eat up. A whole buffet of strangeness.
Oh yeah, any 1980s like documentaries or stuff that they show about film or musicians, I'm there. I'm watching it. I'm binging.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
that's great. Well,
Yep.
Vinny, it was an absolute pleasure
Pleasure.
speaking with you and sharing this virtual space with you.
Yes.
I would love to keep our conversation going, and hopefully you'll stop in again. That'll be great. Talk about your new projects and that kind of thing. Thank you for listening to Journaling with PT and a delightful conversation with Mr. Vinnie Velez. Follow him on social media. His information is in the show notes. Subscribe to the podcast. Continue to follow. Thank you so much for all of your support. It's really appreciated. Continue to stay tuned and take care. Until next time.